Hey guys, I'm so excited to come on and let you know that I have created a free journal template for you. Badasses build boundaries. Boundaries have been essential to me in my healing journey, and I know they can do the same for you. It's when we say no to the things that don't serve us that we're really able to be true to who we authentically are and who we are looking to become. So go into the show notes or go to my website, jessieblois.com, to find the link and download your copy today. Today, I am joined by Christina Flach. Christina is a celebrity makeup artist, and she is the founder of Pretty Girl Makeup and I'm Too Busy. I love the names of your companies. Thank you so much for being here, Christina. It's so great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I was just telling Christina I was at a dance competition all weekend, so it for sure feels like a Thursday or Friday in my world.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like I'm starting busy. So, Christina, you have a very successful career. You've worked with a lot of big names in the industry, and you have your own company, and you have another company that you're in the process of creating. But I love on this podcast to explore women's journeys. And I would love to start kind of from the beginning for you. Where did you come from? What was your upbringing like? And then we'll get to where you are today.
Okay. So I grew up in Marin County. And I grew up I was pretty sporty. I was a tomboy. I played tennis competitively. I rode horses. I had a great childhood. So I had really nice parents and yeah, it was great. My mom got sick when I was about 8 with cancer. And so that was challenging. And I remember I started working on her. She was going on a date with my dad. And I thought, oh, I'll do your makeup, even though I had no clue of what to do. And so she was like my first person I worked on. And I had very few makeup skills and she had very few makeup products. But miraculously, we managed to get her looking and feeling like a better version of herself or like her old self. Yeah. And so that's kind of how I started.
Is that when you realized that this is what you love? Did you always know you wanted to go into makeup and beauty?
I don't think I thought that. I know I didn't think that at the time at all. I just thought it was like a fun thing to do. And I didn't even know that was a job. I mean, yeah, I didn't know. So I didn't know you get paid to do something that you liked. I'm like, wow, I get paid to do what I love. That's amazing.
Did you know as you got older, like, was it something that you loved doing to yourself and to your friends? Was it a hobby?
Yes, definitely. Okay. I worked on any face I could get my hand on. And I loved making people, like transforming people into a different version, a better version of themselves. I just thought that was so like fascinating to see a face or hair turn, like how someone can look so different, but it's always miraculous to me how someone feels. It's like to make someone feel like a different version of themselves is like, or the best. I think that's the best part of my job.
I think that's awesome. So a little thing about me, Christina, is I always wanted to be a makeup artist. From the beginning, that's what I wanted to do. And my mom said, that's fine, but you're also going to get a college degree, and said that's the track I had to be on. So, okay, I'm definitely first child syndrome. I graduated high school. I went to school. I went to grad school. I got my degree. I went to work. The rest is history. But I never stopped loving makeup and always kind of teasing, like, I really always wanted to be in makeup. I wanted to learn how to do it. And I'd never done it on other people, but I love playing with it and I love buying it. And about 6 months ago, I did something online about like my Enneagram, or it was something about who I am as a person. And I shit you not, it comes up and it says, this person would love a profession in makeup.
That is hilarious.
Beauty. I screenshotted it. I sent it to my mom and I was like, I knew what I loved and what and she goes, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to school? And I was like, no, Mom, I'm not going to go back to school now, but I knew what I wanted to do. So anyways, I think it sounds like such a fun profession, but you really took it next level.
I it kind of just happened. I took the first step, but it's funny. I encourage my kids to figure out what they love doing so much that they do it for free and then figure
Mm-hmm.
out how to get paid.
I
So
love that.
I think it's important to, I mean, of course, my kids thank God have college degrees, but I really want them now that they do to figure out like what is it that really gets you excited and enthused and ready to jump out of bed to go do every day. And that's what you need to do.
How old are your kids?
My oldest is 29, 27, 22, and 16.
Well, I think it's awesome that you're teaching them that because I feel like I got lucky in the sense that I was able to take my profession and kind of build it into a way that excited me, but it kind of transitioned me more out of my career and into business owner is kind of
Mm-hmm.
more of how I would describe myself. But I feel like I'm turning 40 in a few days and now I'm like, well, what else do I want to do? What does make me feel like I would do it for free? Because that wasn't what was taught to me. And I love that. And I'm definitely hoping my kids will find that for themselves as well. So
Yes.
I love explaining it that
I
way. That's
think
interesting.
I think being an entrepreneur, if you don't really love, if you're going into a business because you want to make $1 billion,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to fail. You
Mm-hmm.
have to love the process and love what you're doing because it takes so much longer and it's so much harder and takes so much more money. It's so much more everything. So if you're not loving it, you're going to start resenting it and that's when the failure pops in. And I don't feel
A
that
thousand
failure,
percent.
right? And I don't think failing is like these bumps in the road. I think those are lessons. What I think is failing is repeatedly doing something over and over and not making change in your life.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, listen, growing my business literally took me to my knees. Like
I know.
on the ground, crying, feeling helpless, feeling hopeless. It wasn't a failure because I didn't stop.
Right.
And it sure made me reflect on what the business needs and what I need. It really made me look at myself about what kind of leader I want to be and what kind of business owner and what kind of business I want. But yeah, it was the passion for what I'm doing for the families that we connect with in our community that keeps it going to help those people. But if you don't love it and you don't have a passion for it, it's too much. You have to really be invested. Or when people think that becoming a business owner means you're going to work less.
No. Certainly
No,
not.
absolutely not. Did you know you wanted to own a business? Because that was never my intention out of the gate. I just thought I needed to grow enough for me to sustain
No.
myself.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I think I started Pretty Girl because I was in a constant battle driving around my 5 kids with a water bottle and lip gloss. I would drink some water, the lip gloss would come off. So it was just constant and I couldn't find one that would last. And so I thought, well, it can't be that hard to create a lip gloss. And ignorance is kind of, bliss because you don't know what you don't know. And so I started working with a beauty chemist and it took over a year to formulate the formulation of the texture of the lip gloss and then to formulate the colors. It's a different process. So you try it on your friends and family, send back notes to the chemist, and then they send back revised versions. So it certainly took significantly longer.
That sounds so fun though. Was that fun?
It was fun. That's fun. That's the fun part. Like right now with I'm Too Busy, I'm working with a beauty chemist. We're working on skincare, a 3-step process. So that's super fun. And it's fascinating the science behind all these different products. There's, certain things you want it to do and not do and how you want it to work. So it's very interesting.
How does that process work? Do you tell the chemist this is what I want, or are you having to research ingredients, or is it a little bit of both?
I
How
think
does
it's a
that?
little bit of both. Like, we had a couple of Zoom meetings to just kind of talk about what the goals were, like how we wanted it to be, how it looked. Then I also, he's done this a million times. I wanted to hear from him. Okay, what's your experience? What do you think is like a hole in the market? Where do you think we could fit in, like being different? So
Yeah.
I want to listen to people that have done this
and get as much information, and then you can kind of decide how to do it. It's very interesting this time doing the business, because the first time around with Pretty Girl, I just came up with a line and tossed it out into the world. This time it's a lot more strategic of, okay, looking at algorithms, looking at what is selling, what can be, where there's a hole, where we would fit. It's like almost doing the opposite of what I did the first time. So that's interesting too.
Where is the hole? What have you found as a hole?
That's a good question. Well, we're still in the midst of that, so I can't really give you an honest answer to that, but there's different, how, and then I'm not trying to avoid your question, but
no, you're fine.
We're in the midst of it, and I don't have an answer for that yet. I really don't.
That's exciting though.
Yeah. I mean, there's you have different meetings with different people to hear what they think the whole is. And then you do your own research of checking on Amazon, checking successful companies, seeing reviews, seeing things that aren't great that they think. So it's a lot more of a strategic process of planning than I had done, because that really wasn't available 20 something years ago.
No, it's so different. And then now there's influencers pushing products that might not even be good products, but they gain popularity. So it's really, you're up against that as well.
That's what's hard as well. That, I started a company that this was before there were influencers, before there was TikTok and Instagram and all these different social media platforms. And that the influencers were very different. They were celebrities. You met with celebrities, you met with beauty editors at magazines. They were like it. And, publicists and stylists, that was it. And it was kind of like you would send stuff to celebrities and they would use it and say something nice. And that was that. You didn't have to pay them like now.
Oh, that's so different than now.
Yeah, like people were it was a lot easier, let me tell you. And, it is a little frustrating to see that there's some, people have started companies and they have an endless supply of money to just put into social media and influencer. It's very hard to compete being self-funded like I was. And so that's why this time we're going about it much differently. We have to get funding because you can't compete and you can't succeed without it.
Okay, I have a lot of questions. So I'm going to try to back up a little.
Shoot them out at me.
I'm going to back up a little. So I want to go back to how you came out of the gate. So when did you become a mom? Were you already working? How did you even get your first celebrity client? Because I'm sure there's so many people in your industry that would love to have that ability to reach somebody of that magnitude. So can you just take me back a little bit to how you even figured that part out?
Okay. So, I've had kids for quite a long time. And being a makeup artist was a really good fit because I could be a stay-at-home mom. And, you as a makeup artist, you don't work every day typically. You work a couple of days on a shoot and then you don't. Or you work, starting out, you do weddings on the weekends and then you can deal with your kids and, be a PTA president or come work in the class and drive on field trips. So that was perfect fit for me.
So that's how you started. You started just not you weren't working in a store and then you were doing people's makeup. You started right away going to events and doing makeup.
I started doing brides.
Okay.
And then for proms. So that started. And then a photographer would hear about me and I just started doing photo shoots. And then I had enough images to someone said because I met another makeup artist. I'm like, how do you have celebrities? How do you do that? She's like, well, I have an agent. I'm like, an agent? Huh. I didn't even know that existed for makeup artists. I thought that was for models or actors. So I got a book together of all, different lifestyle images and whatever I had. And I submitted it to Ford Models in New York.
Yeah.
Has division. So those were my first agents. And I'm actually back with Ford now after all these years. So you get agents, and that's how I got my first Visa commercial. And then my first celebrity, I think it was Tyler Florence. I think it was. I'm not sure. And he's still my client and I love him to pieces. So you just start, it's always the first one's the hardest. And then when you have agents, you get opportunities to work with different celebrities. And, my agent, Keith, is with Zenobia. That's my other agents. And I did Rita Moreno last year for People magazine. So that was huge. And Maria Bartolomo. And so I have she's with Fox. And so I have all, little by little, you just kind of, the more you work, the more you work.
I had no idea you would need an agent. That's really interesting. So is that
I had three.
So you don't have to just stick with one.
I go with whoever books me a job is where I go. Yeah.
Do you have to go after jobs at this point, or now once you establish those relationships with your agents, you kind of just rely on them to set it up and then you say yes or no?
Yes and no. Yes, I do that, but I also I work with Fox a lot. I work with Food Network. Tyler Florence is one of my clients, and then his assistant referred me to Ryan Seacrest people at iHeartRadio. So now I'm working with Bachelor Nation. So when you work hard and people like you, then they tell other people that they like you and that you work hard, hopefully. And then that's what leads to more people.
Talk to me about what you mean when you say working hard, because I know what that means to me. And I think there's a big push right now, at least in social media, that work should not take over your life. And you shouldn't have to bring work home, or you shouldn't have to work too many hours. And your life should be more about the pleasure and less about the work. And it's about working less and making more. I feel like there's a big shift in that, something that wasn't around, at least when I was starting out.
Well, okay, I agree with having balance in your life.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I am working, I work really hard. I'm not a pain in the ass. I get there on time. I'm pleasant. I do everything and more that they want me to do. And I am grateful. I say, thank you so much for having me today, regardless of who it is. I thank my agents. I thank my client and the team that I work with, the photographers, the lighting people. I'm like, it was great working with you. Thanks so much. So I agree.
Treating everyone the same.
Yeah, I treat everyone nicely. It just makes life easier. I'm just nice to everybody.
Yeah.
So I agree. I mean, when you're working, you work hard. It doesn't mean when I come home, I'm doing my home stuff and I'm spend time with my family. It's all, I think there needs to be balance in life. I don't think it has to be one or the other, but I think when you are at work, you have to work hard. It's just the reality. If you don't, there's so many, being a makeup artist is so competitive. If I just became lazy, ungrateful, and just kind of did a half-ass job, believe me, there's 50 other people out there that are going to take my spot. So I like being where I am in my career, that I don't take it for granted. I don't. I love doing what I do, and I'm grateful for doing what I do. So there's no reason I'm not going to do everything in my ability to be the best I can. My makeup kit is stellar. I'm constantly buying new products. My makeup brushes are sterilized clean. I try, I get new skincare. I really take pride in my job and how I present myself out there in the world.
I think that's really important. I do think it's really important, at least for someone who's starting out and building that business for them. I know for me, there were so many hours at the beginning that the balance wasn't there. I actually don't even use the word balance because I don't think there's a perfect balance to motherhood and self-care and working. Women wear so many hats that there's no way to give equal attention to all of it all the time. So I feel like when we're starting out, when we're building something, or we have a dream and a vision, it takes a lot of our time and our energy, and you really have to throw it all in there. And then, you can kind of get it up and running, and you still, when you're there and you're focused, it's your main priority, but you have a little bit more time to put attention into other parts of your life. At least that's how it was for me. My career took a lot of my focus and attention for a good handful of years. And then once I kind of got it to a certain place, I was able to divide my attention better into other parts of my life.
I agree, but I also feel that like self-care is not selfish. It's enables like whether I'm traveling or I'm home, I'm pretty much on the same schedule. I eat the same, I work out, I drink my green juice, I drink my water, I exercise. So those things are like, for me to be a good mother, a good everything, I need to take care of me. I make sure that I, like today, dropped my son at school and I went to Pilates. I made my green juice for like the whole day. Like I do all that. So that is very balanced in my life. So then I can give the rest of the day to doing interviews, writing articles, preparing for a new segment on NBC that I'm doing on the 12th, 2 new segments actually, working on the new company. If I don't feel good, if I don't feel rested, if I don't feel well and worked out and all that stuff, I am not going to be the best version of me. So I can't take care of everybody else if I don't start with doing my stuff. And it's not
agree with you.
that much time for me. It's like 1 hour.
I think self-care is the most important part. I really think it's when I started deciding how I was going to spend my money on the right mentors for me instead of material items, like mentors, exercise, for me, meditation, journaling, walking outside, those things are critical. However, I didn't know that at the beginning. That took time
I agree.
for me
I wish
to
I knew
learn.
that before. I
wish I knew that. I probably would have been a much calmer mother, business owner, wife person if I had learned that before. Now I know that. But I mean, it took me a while to realize how self-care is not selfish.
No,
it is
not at all.
necessary in order to, like you said, be what you need to be for you and for everybody else. But I think it's the first thing that we as women don't give to ourselves until we learn how much it's actually needed for us to function.
I think women have a really bad habit of thinking they need to sacrifice constantly. Oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. No, you do not have to. That's your choice. But I will say I did always exercise every day. Like, thank God I did, because I would have lost my mind. But I get so tired of hearing people's excuses of why they're not exercising or why they're not eating better or doing all these things. It like they're excuses. If you but they continually complain about it. So to me, it's like, okay, you have a persisting problem. It keeps coming up, but yet you're making no change to make it different. I don't want to hear it. Find a solution and change it. If you're not in a good relationship, get out of it or make changes into staying in it. If you don't like where you live, make changes to make it the best. You don't have to live in the fanciest place, but you can make it as cozy and clean and pretty as you can. Oh, my favorite excuse of all is, well, I'm on vacation or I'm traveling for work. I can't exercise and I can't eat well. Why? I think it's actually easier. I was away for 9 days. I worked out every day. I went to Press Juicery every day, got my green juice. When I stayed in a hotel that had like a kitchen, I went to Whole Foods and got all my stuff to make my green juice and eat cleanly. So to me, it's easier when you're away. There's no kids, there's no house, there's no nothing. There's no excuse. So that is the most invalid. That one does not work for me.
I wonder if it's the same personality.
It's being disciplined.
It's like being disciplined, but I don't know if I'm as disciplined as you're saying, but I definitely have certain things that if I'm not doing, I feel very out of sorts. So if I'm deciding I'm exercising 5 days a week and I'm not hitting 5 days a week, that really weighs on me. I'm very regimented. But one thing you're talking about that is, I can relate to it so much. And it's, I don't want to say I get frustrated, but I kind of do. I kind of get frustrated. If somebody has a problem, fix your problem.
I know. It's like that.
And I don't know if that's my type A neurotic personality.
It's your first, because I'm the same. I'm your firstborn. It's the firstborn CEO.
Yeah.
Like, fix it.
If it's not working, stop. Do it.
Do something different.
If you're miserable about something, go to therapy or write it out. Like, fix it. Find the solution.
You know what? People don't want to fix it, because if they did, they would. If you want to fix the problem, fix it. Like, you can do it.
So my brother and I talk about this. My brother and I were born exactly 12 years apart. He is turning 28 on Wednesday. I turned 40 on Thursday. So we're exactly 12 years apart. Basically, like he's another first child. We share a brain. He owns a business in Chicago, and we're so similar in that sense. And we talk about it a lot, how when there's an issue or something that we need to work on, and maybe with other people too, being in that discomfort or sadness or whatever, it almost just gets to the point where that's where you're comfortable. So it's easier to stay there, because if you're not in this discomfort or you don't have this anxiety, what are you going to think about? What are you going to feel? What's going to be your story?
Well, that's your excuse for not doing it. But it was so interesting.
I think subconsciously, it's like people just want to stay in that area because they know it, instead of getting uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable to grow.
It's so funny that you say that. My friend Berlin Fisher, he's the host on California Live, one of the hosts, and he was the beauty expert. And now he selected me to be the beauty expert on his segments. And so I said, I can't do that. Like, I'm behind the camera girl. I'm not a like TV person. And he goes, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And honestly, that changed my life, because now I know that being uncomfortable is not a bad thing. It leads to great things. So if you know that getting uncomfortable can lead to something great, you don't mind it so much. So, I think that would be like something that I really have been chatting with my friends and family about, like, what makes you uncomfortable? Like, and once you get comfortable being uncomfortable, nothing's really so bad.
No, it's almost exciting, because if you're uncomfortable, it means you're really putting yourself out there, and you know what? Maybe it doesn't work. Right? Starting this podcast.
Now it's leading you down another path. So if you go down one path, to me, there's no failure in the path, whatever you decide. And if it's not working, then do something else. Like, you don't have to beat yourself. Oh, it was a failure. Okay, it wasn't. It was a lesson. So learn from it and go down another direction. And if that doesn't work, it'll lead you to something else. They're all like, it's just a process. I don't know. I don't waste time thinking about, oh, that didn't work. Okay. It's like, okay, what is going to work? What is my goal, and what do I need to do to get there? It might take me 15 steps, but make them.
And it's maybe along the way you met someone that you were supposed to meet, and that was the purpose.
That always happens.
So you don't know why maybe you're going down a certain path, but there's an intention. You're going to learn something. I agree with you. Just if it didn't work, learn from it. If it didn't feel good, explore why and do it differently. Starting this podcast, when I, decided I want to go out, I want to work with women, and my mentor was like, well, the first step, Jessie, is you need to start a podcast. I was like, you're insane. I'm not doing a podcast. What? And it's been so fun to meet so many different women. And then I'll just get messages from women in the community or women on social media, like, thank you for being vulnerable, or thank you for sharing the story. I related to it. And it's those little messages that I never thought I'd share so much.
Right.
And it's so worth it. But these aren't visions that I had for myself, but it was presented to me. I thought, no way in hell. But I did it anyways.
Right.
And
good for you. Like, look it's so interesting when you are open to things in the world. Like, we think we have this, like, oh, I'm a makeup artist and I can't do podcasts, or I can't write for magazines. Like, thank God I'm a lot of things, but I am open to everything. Like, I didn't think I was a good writer, but yet I've been published in so many magazines writing about makeup and beauty. I didn't think I could go on TV, but all these things that I didn't think I could do, I do. And so now all these different opportunities arise, and I'm like, yeah, bring it. Let's do it. Why not?
Right. And I think it's a really good lesson for our kids too, right? To watch that.
Definitely.
Because I have a son and a daughter. And I think it's really good for them when something's hard. I tell them all the time, you can do hard things. You have to do hard things. I feel like it's so easy to say no when something is scary or hard or whatever. Those are the things you need to be doing. That's where the growth comes in. That's where I was telling my son, he's a fourth grader, and this has been a challenging year for him with the schoolwork, and school comes really easy to him, but it's more time management. And I said, listen, buddy, I don't care what you learn in math this year. What we're learning this year is how to keep showing up when it's hard and we don't want to.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's what you're learning as a fourth grader. And that's more important, let me tell you,
Right.
to keep showing up when it's too hard and you don't want to and you're tired.
And
right?
asking for help. And like my whole thing with my kids is, if you don't turn in work, I'm going to go so crazy Russian on you. Like, you're like, not turning in work is not acceptable. I don't want to hear from a teacher, oh, I'm missing, your kid's missing 5 assignments. Your job is to go to school, be pleasant, make the world a better place, and turn in. That's it.
The other thing he said to me, turning in work, and then he said to me, he had an assignment and he said, well, it just didn't, this one wasn't important to me. No.
Oh,
you
no.
don't decide what's important. If your teacher assigned it and it matters to her, no matter your opinion, you're putting in the same amount of effort. And I think those are really important life lessons.
Oh, huge. But thank God you taught it to him, because so many parents are like, oh yeah, you know, you don't have to do that stuff. Like, no, people are really doing a disservice to their kids by coddling them so much. It really makes me sick when I see these kids that, oh, you know, they don't want to do sports. It's so important to do sports. Kids need to learn working hard as a team, winning and losing. Someone is in life. You're not helping your kid. You're not preparing them for life if they don't know how to work hard, work with others on a team, and to win and to lose. You have to learn all those things, because you go out into the world, sometimes you're going to get a job, sometimes you're not. I mean, making everything so easy for our kids is really a disservice.
It really is. And I think even for my son, he switched soccer teams. We made him do several tryouts because it's like an interview, and go get uncomfortable out in that field. And my daughter at this dance competition, she's young and she had to do conventions for the first time. And you're in this class and mommy didn't stay with her and she had to dance in front of people. And she was so nervous. And we were like, you got to do it though. And she was fine, right? But she wouldn't have known she was going to be fine if we didn't say, you're doing it anyways. And you have to work with others. You have to win and lose, and you have to learn to take direction from someone else, whether you agree with it or not.
Right. That's just like, you're not going to succeed in the world. And, you know, competing with others is like part of the process. And, you know, working as a team, you know, it's so important.
Yeah.
You're not going to be successful in life if you don't learn how to work with others and being positive. And I think hiring people and working with people, I really try, the people that are work on our team, that I select them, that they're going to work. It's funny, my assistant's just texting me that it's important that, you know, let them do their job and not micromanaging all the time. Like, let them, I'm not great with social media, so I let my college student person that does the social media or the TikTok, I let them do it, because I need to, like CEO, I need to create things. I need to think of things we're going to do. Like, it's a waste of my time trying to do something that I don't even do very well.
Yeah. And it took me a while to release my control over the business, because I felt like this is how I want to be represented in the community. This is how I want to handle every difficult situation or conversation. And as soon as I released that control and let our management team handle it, everything got better.
Yeah, I know.
They can do a lot of it better than you can.
100%. I agree. Yeah. Like, I don't, like my partner, Jordan, you know, we are a much better team because I don't sit and micromanage how to do this financial plan or, you know, all the stuff that I don't try to do. It's just, it's not an effective way of getting to the end result.
How much of your career growth was very intentional and purposeful, and how much of it was organic and through manifestation? I know I saw you write a little bit about manifestation and mindset, and I really want to talk to you about that because I love that. And I think I'm very intentional with what I want to create, but the way that it comes to fruition is never exactly how I intended it. It's how the universe presents it to me. So, how has that been for you throughout your career?
I think I set a goal and I tell the universe what I want to have happen, not what I want to not have happen. And I think the universe is so helpful when you're clear, when you're murky or you're not sure, like, oh, I don't know. Well, the universe doesn't know what to do, so it doesn't do anything. So these doors have opened for me because I have been clear. Like sometimes I'll say, okay, universe, I need a shoot, or, oh, I want to do a new magazine cover, or I want a new celebrity, or I want to work on a project. And then there it is. So yeah. I definitely use my witchcraft, as my kids like to tell me, that I write things down. I envision it happening like it already happened. So I'm like, oh, how do I feel like, oh, when I get to do this new project or this new, whatever it is, how I feel. And then it's done.
Yeah. And you're right. You have to say it in how you want it to be. The universe doesn't speak in negatives. So if I don't want this, it just hears what you don't want.
Well, that's like people worrying. Worrying is basically praying for bad things to happen. So if you focus on bad things or negative things, that's what the universe thinks you want. So that's what's going to happen. So,
yeah. So this is something that I've explored more so recently in life, like the past 5 or 6 years. I've been really working on my mindset and changing how I view all of it. Is that something that you've always done, or is that something else that you sought out as you became an adult and a mom and in your career?
I think it's a little probably more natural to me. I'm naturally an optimistic, positive person. So, but I definitely think that happiness is a choice. I get in bad moods just like everybody else, not that often, but it happens. And it's usually because I'm tired, or I haven't eaten, or I haven't had any water, or I haven't worked out. So I check in with myself like, oh, did I eat? Did I work out? Or do I need to take a break from, being in my office or something, and go outside, get some fresh air and just walk for a minute, or, go do something else completely. So I think it's kind of knowing yourself and being the person that you like. Who do you want to be in the world? That's who you can be. You can be in the world is, I want to be a CEO. I want to be a celebrity makeup artist. I like everything that's happening in my life. It's because I want it to happen. So that's.
Have you been able to give these qualities to your children? Do they manifest and use mindset to move forward in life as well?
They do all my woo-woo, even though they act like they don't, they do.
Yeah. So what's some of your woo-woo that you do?
Well, like, one of my daughters in particularly does more of the, like, we work with an energy healer, and she's a lot more open to my real woo-woo-ness. But I think my kids have learned, they see it's not the lectures you give, it's the example you set. So my kids see how I am really kind and loving and open to people, and they see that I work really hard, and they see all the things that I do, and that's why the way they are the same way.
Yeah. So
but that took me a long time. Like my daughter Rose said that to me once, like, Mom, your lectures on everything were just
dumb.
And I'm like, what? I thought they were award winning. And she's like, no, your example was so much more profound. Seeing that how I treat people, even strangers. Yeah. Like I'm really open and kind, and all my kids are like that. They're really open and kind people, and they're hard workers, and they're all they're amazing.
Did any of them go into the beauty industry?
No. One daughter is a fashion designer.
Okay.
Studied at Central St. Martin's in London and Parsons in New York. And my other daughter is a screenwriter. She went to NYU Film School, and now she writes.
Cool.
I mean, they're creative, but they're different. My daughter is a writer. She's written for TV shows. She's written a book. She's working on movie scripts. So she loves to read and she loves to write. And so that's what she does. And my son, Nikolai, was studying engineering and playing golf in college, and he's still playing golf in college, but now he's studying jazz. And I'm sure most parents are like, what the actual fuck are you going to do with jazz? But you know what? Who knows what he's going to do? All I know is the kid's happy. He's 4.0. He's playing, Division II golf. And, how many times do you get degrees that you don't even use anyway? So he's getting a degree. I don't care. just get a degree and then figure out what you're going to do to make money.
Jazz and golf. I feel like those are so opposite.
Nikolai's Nikolai. But I love that he decided
like
that, he said, it's too hard to play collegiate golf and study engineering. It's like, I can't do it, And so he loves jazz. He's like self-taught. He can play like piano, drums, guitar, all these different instruments, like self-taught. And it comes naturally. So I don't know what he's going to do with it. We'll see.
Wait, this is wild. Did he not have a music background and then he went into jazz?
No, he like taught himself to play the piano, and then he was playing drums and guitar. Like he's, as a hobby, he just kind of did it. And then he decided he's going to start studying jazz. Like, okay.
Okay, wait. I love that. That's what I wish I was more of. Just like, fuck it, that's what I'm doing because that makes me happy.
But I think because so cool. I have always been saying, like, figure out what you love doing and figure out how to make money.
And he likes it. He likes the jazz major.
He does, but I love that he isn't worried. Like, he doesn't give a crap what his dad and I think about his studying. Like, and I also love that his dad and I both are like, okay, you figure it out.
Well, I think, okay, so you just made the comment that he doesn't care what you guys think about his studying. And I think there's so much.
He cares that
but he's not making his decisions based off your desires. No. And I think if I could have more of that, that's what I want to take in to my 40s with me, is doing what speaks to my heart, not making decisions based on, wait, what are they going to think? Are they going to judge that? Are they going to have an opinion?
I think, well, like my dad thinks my dad thinks I'm a gypsy. He doesn't know what I do. He's like, what do? You do what? You get paid? And my sister has a more normal job.
What's a normal job? An accountant?
My daughter is like an executive with Costco. My two brothers, they have like normal jobs. Like they're like businessmen. But I am really glad, like, I don't care what my dad thinks. I mean, I care what he thinks, but I'm not living my life like, oh, well, my dad would like prefer that I have a proper job, that you go to an office and you know how much you're getting paid per year. I don't know how much I get paid per year because it depends on how my company does or my photo shoots. But like, I have plan A and plan B and plan C. So plan A is being a makeup artist. I don't know. It goes between being a makeup artist and being a CEO. So when I'm not CEOing, I'm on a photo shoot. Plan C is the money that I do have, that I invest it wisely. How do I do that? So
right.
I'm doing all these different things. It is not clearly conventional, but I afford myself.
But it's not conventional. Listen, you're clearly a creative person. You're either doing art on somebody's face or you're creating a makeup or a skincare line. This is all creative, and it's clearly in your blood because look at what your children are doing.
That's true.
Everybody's creative beings, and you're putting it into, you're funneling it into something and making it something that is a career.
Right.
I don't know. I think that's great. I think that's super cool and a great example.
Comfortable in my skin. That's another thing. Like, I'm in my 50s now. I feel really comfortable in my skin. I don't really worry about what everyone else is thinking.
When did that start?
Probably in my 40s.
I was going to say, I feel like my 30s, I didn't feel super comfortable. I feel like I'm just crossing over into like, no, this is going to be okay. And I'm going to just lean into being more me. But I don't feel like I've been that way for very long.
If I could give you the gift of just like loving who, like, I love how I look. I like how my body is. I like where my career is. Like it opens up so much space in the world when you're like, not worrying about all these things like, oh, I wish I was thinner. Oh, I wish I didn't have a wrinkle. Oh, I wish, like all that stuff I don't think about anymore. It's like, I'm thinking about, okay, what do I need to do to get this thing going? What do I need to do? Like all that stuff. That is what I really try to put my focus on and not think about all that other stuff because it's a waste of time.
Yeah. I feel like also when I'm busy worrying about my body or what somebody thinks or my wrinkles, all of the above.
You know what? You're making assumptions about what someone thinks. It's what you think they think. They're not thinking that.
I've been talking about this lately. I'm like, when I think someone doesn't like me or whatever, I'm like, my husband said to me the other day, he goes, Jesse, you create that narrative. You don't even know if that shit's true. And you
True.
spiraled on it for 3 days. And I was like,
if you think about it from a logical standpoint, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, oh, I think they think that. You don't, I mean, when you stop making assumptions about other people when they're not, and if you ask them like, oh, do you think, like, I didn't think that at all. Like, not even close. I actually think the opposite. I think you're amazing. I think you're like smoking hot and thin. Like,
or when you look back at pictures of yourself and you're like, God, I remember back then feeling like I didn't look good enough or this and that. And you're like, shit, I wish I still looked like that. Right. And had that body. But I feel like when I'm able to put that all out of my head, I'm able to be nicer to others and I'm able to be more present with my children because I'm not caught up in my own shit that's taking me out of the present moment.
I think that's the greatest thing that age gives you is just like not wasting time thinking a bunch of crap. It's just their thoughts. And if you can just acknowledge it as a thought and go, okay, thought, okay, bye, keep going on. Life is so much easier. I swear.
Yeah.
It really is. You just
I feel like that.
About a bunch of crap. And then like people that if they can think what they want. I don't care. That's your business. It's not my business to worry about what you're thinking about me. That's your business.
Well, and that's the other thing too. I'm much more comfortable not being loved by everybody. And that was not how I was raised to feel or how I felt the past 40 years of my life. But now it's just, I feel like almost too, when you don't bring in the things that aren't meant for you, you leave the space for the things that are meant for you. Do you know what I mean? To find you. Don't take the job that doesn't speak to you or don't have the friendship that isn't making you feel good. And then the job that you are meant to have or the friendship you are meant to have, now they can come in. Now you've created that space.
Right.
Yeah, that's so great.
You also need to know, like, you also realize, like, I don't need 92,000 friends. I need like my real main people.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then there's more room because you're not wasting time like, oh, I have to go to this party or I have to go meet these people. You don't even like those people. So what are you wasting time? Go be with the people that you actually enjoy, that contribute to your life instead of wasting time worrying, like thinking like, oh, I need to do that. No, you don't.
If I don't go, I'm missing out and I need to be a part of it, even though I don't want to go. Like sometimes I just want to be in my pajama. Not sometimes, a lot of the times I want to be on the couch with a kid on each side in my pajamas going to bed at 9:30.
I love that. That's like best day ever.
Right? I mean, that's like my happy
place. That's always my thing. I'm like, oh, I want to get in bed and read my book. Because I'm like the biggest nerd in the world. I
have found the past few months I found smut books. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's a little bit like soft porn in a book.
Oh goodness.
And they are just very entertaining. You can fly right through. It's like watching a rom-com. It's like watching a rom-com on Netflix. And it's just fun. It's an escape. And I love it. I love getting in bed and just zoning out to a mindless book.
It's delicious.
I don't want to overthink it, right? I don't want anything that's going to make me cry. I just want to have fun and go to bed.
Yes. I mean, it's really important when you do go to bed at night that you have positive, happy thoughts because your subconscious is going on your last thoughts of the day. So it is important to, go to bed with love in your heart.
I agree. Okay, Christina, before I let you go, what are 3 pieces of advice that you would give to anybody starting out or creating their dream life, whether it has to do with work or not, just the positive energy that you're talking about raising children? What are 3 things that you would say are the most important lessons that you've learned?
To be as nice to yourself as you are to everybody else. We beat the crap out of ourselves.
Yeah.
Start that and then dream as big as you want. Like the world is yours. Just go get it. Create the life that you want to live. It's not going to happen unless you create it. So that. Thirdly, what would be take good care of yourself. Treat yourself like, self-care is not selfish. And I think you can give more when you have more to give, when you're not. I love not thinking today, oh God, I need to work out. I got to work out. Like that's off my plate. I don't have to think about that till tomorrow. There's green juice in my fridge. I'm going to drink that. I've got some hard-boiled eggs. I'll eat that. Like I don't have all this worrying because I've because I'm disciplined and I have these things in place, my workout, my food, I have my water bottles all filled up of the water I need to drink today. Now I can focus on what I need to focus on instead of worrying about water and eating and working out.
Thank you so much. It's been so fun to talk to you.
You too. I love this. Thanks so much.
It's been great. And I can't wait to learn more and watch your skincare come out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we're offering on prettygirlmakeup.com 20% or 25% off with discount code PrettyGirl.
Awesome. Okay, well, I know I'll be on there soon. So thank you. And thank you so much for coming on and talking to me today.
Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye, Christina. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.